Dear friends and followers, welcome to my channel and welcome to yet another episode on career transformation. As promised in my previous video, today I'll give away 5 important tips that you can use to score well on the Gmat and get into the best MBA courses in India or abroad. Stay tuned. Welcome to my channel MBA for You, where we transform your career. So let's get started. Friends, as I had told you in my previous video, in order to score well on the Gmat, you need to know the Gmat exam pattern, what the Gmat tests you for, and how the Gmat rewards you for correct answers. You also need to know how the Gmat scoring works. Friends, the Graduate Management Admission Test or Gmat is a widely accepted test for MBA admission. It is accepted by all top business schools in India or abroad. This is your entry point to world-class MBA schools. Even top Indian colleges such as IIMs or ISB has globally reputed MBA courses that needs Gmat score as an admission criterion. The Gmat is an online exam. You have to book your test at any of the test centers and take the test on a computer at that test center. It's an international exam. You need to show a valid ID such as passport for taking the Gmat. Your score is valid internationally by all reputed business schools. The Gmat can only be arranged through the website mba.com. You can get information on the exam pattern, test centers near you, availability of test taking time slots, acceptable ID proofs, etc. on the website. You can also get a software with 2 free Gmat mock tests on registration. You need to register on the website to start with. Let's take a look at the score. The score lies between 200, the minimum possible, to 800, the maximum possible score. The world average score for all Gmat test takers was approximately 540 some years back. To get into good MBA programs, I suggest that you score at least 650 or more. It's better to score 690 or more if you want to get into top IIMs. Remember, the Gmat score does not guarantee you a seat in MBA colleges. These schools typically look at your complete profile before offering admission. Having said that, a high Gmat score definitely increases your chance of getting shortlisted for interview and final selection. Okay, let's take a look at the exam pattern and how different sections of the exam are arranged. The Gmat has 4 sections in the exam: the Analytical Writing Assessment or AWA, the Integrated Reasoning section, the Quantitative Reasoning section, and the Verbal Reasoning section. The AWA section is of 30 minutes. You will be given a short passage with a few assumptions and arguments. You need to critically analyze it and write your reasons behind your conclusion. The score of this section ranges between 0 to 6 in 0.5 point increments. So you can have a score of say 4 or 5.5, but you cannot have a score of say 5.7. The Integrated Reasoning section consists of 12 multiple choice questions. The score in this section ranges from 1 to 8 in increments of 1 point. Hence, you cannot have any fractional score. Questions will be based on your interpretation of graphs and tables. You will also be asked to conclude something on the basis of facts presented in different resources called multi-source reasoning. Moreover, there can be questions on 2-part analysis. All questions will be multiple choice type and you have to select the correct answer. The section will also be 30 minutes long. Let's look at the Quantitative Reasoning section. There will be 31 questions and your score can range from 6 to 51 in this section in 1 point increments. Questions will be from data sufficiency and problem solving. You will be given some data and you have to do the math to get to the correct option. It will have 4 options with 1 correct answer. Questions can come from basic maths such as percentage, probability, geometry, etc. This section will be 62 minutes long. Finally comes the Verbal Reasoning section. It will have 36 questions ranging from questions on reading comprehension, critical reasoning to sentence correction. It will test your critical analysis skills on business English and extracting information from text. This will be 65 minutes long. Remember, the test pattern changes a bit from time to time. Do check the exam pattern applicable in mba.com before taking the test. Now here comes the most important part. Your Gmat score out of 800 depends only on the quantitative and verbal section. Except the AWA section, you will get to know the sectional scores and your Gmat score right after you complete the test at the test center. The score of AWA takes a few days to get updated on your Gmat official scorecard. Most business schools rely on your Gmat score, although a few do take a look at your AWA and IR sectional scores. Needless to say, the quantitative and verbal sections are extremely important. Guys, Gmat is a computer adaptive test. Let's first understand what a computer adaptive test is and how it works. Computer adaptive test adapts itself to your abilities and tests you by providing questions of toughness that ultimately matches your abilities. Let us suppose you are taking the quantitative reasoning section and your score will vary from 6 to 51. At the start of the section, the online test will give you a question of moderate difficulty. Suppose you got it correct. In that case, it will give you a question of a little higher difficulty level as compared to the previous one. This goes on. Suppose you keep on answering questions correctly, the questions will keep on getting harder. Suppose you got the first 3 questions correct. The 4th question is very tough and it turns out that you answered it incorrectly. The level of difficulty in the next question will fall and you will be provided a slightly easier question. If you get it wrong, the next question will be easier and say you got it right, then the difficulty again increases. This goes on until the computer judges your ability and you get consistent. If you get the first few questions right and get hard questions of say 700 score level and keep on answering most of them correctly, your sectional score increases. The harder questions you get right, the more the score will increase. If you get easier questions wrong, your score drops. Hence, the Gmat gives you questions which are suitable for your abilities. Hence, all test takers need not get the same questions. You might be wondering how the Gmat knows the difficulty level of each question. That's where dummy questions come in. Each test taker is served a few questions which carry no marks and will not affect your score. Unfortunately, you will not know that these questions are dummy questions. Hence, you must take all questions as if those carried marks. But the Gmat does a statistical analysis across numerous test takers to judge how many people got the dummy questions right and what was their Gmat score in the tests. After this, Gmat uses these questions as proper questions in future Gmats that do affect the score. You can expect a few dummy questions in some sections, although you won't be able to differentiate those as dummy questions. Friends, now that you know about the exam pattern, let's take a look at some frequently asked questions. Okay, so when can you take the Gmat? Well, pretty much anytime you feel prepared. It's conducted throughout the year. Just check that your test center is not closed on that day or it's not fully occupied. You can check this on mba.com. Age limit. Well, there is no upper age limit. You can take the Gmat if you are 13 years or older. If you are aged between 13 to 17 years, you need a written consent from your legal guardian or parent. Consent form is available on mba.com. You can take the tests 8 times in a lifetime. Hopefully you will crack the test in the first attempt or at least first 3 attempts. If you take the Gmat, you have to wait at least 16 days before you can take it again. You can take at most 5 tests in 12 months, but if you score a perfect 800, that is the maximum attainable score, you have to wait for 5 years before you can take it again. Well, why should you take the test if you score 800 anyways? Validity. The Gmat score is valid for 5 years from the date you take the test, but business schools may impose additional requirements. For example, some business schools allow a Gmat score which is at most 3 years old. Check with the B school you are applying for. Speaking of score, you will get to see your Gmat score out of 800 right after you submit the test in the test center. You may reject or accept the score. You will get 2 minutes to decide. If you do not do anything, the score will get rejected automatically. If you attempt the Gmat again, the scorecard will show that you had rejected a Gmat score earlier, but no one will get to know that score. Yes, the Gmat is costly. It costs $250 USDs to take the Gmat once. Cancellations are possible but expensive. You can check these on mba.com. Friends, as I had promised in the beginning of the video, here are 5 important tips that you can use to score really well on the Gmat and get into the best MBA courses. have a look. Number 1. This is extremely important. Gmat is a lot about time management. Answer easy questions correctly and quickly in the beginning, then you will get to attempt tough questions later on and those will take time. Set time goals, for example 2 minutes per quantitative section question. Save by solving easier questions fast, but don't do silly mistakes in the haste. Number 2. You can practice on mock tests, but do not keep on taking the same mock tests. You will get to know the tough questions and you will score better, although it may not be due to better preparation. Number 3. From my experience, I can say the questions on the actual Gmat appeared much harder than those that I got in the mock tests. Getting hard questions can be a good sign. It may indicate that you are doing well. Number 4. Decide a score cutoff below which you will reject the Gmat score. If the score is far below the average intake score for your target colleges, then reject it. You won't be able to decide this in 2 minutes, so decide upfront. Number 5. You can choose 5 MBA programs at the start of the test. These programs will get to know your score for no extra cost. If you wish to report your score later to other schools, you have to pay a fee. Friends, after you score well on the Gmat, you need to apply to the top MBA courses in top-notch MBA institutes like IIMs or ISB with your Gmat score. For increasing your chances of selection into these top-notch MBA courses, you need to understand how the MBA admission process works. For more information on it, have a look at my previous video on how the admission process works at top MBA institutes like IIMs, ISB, etc. If you want more one-on-one guidance, career counseling, interview preparation for MBA admission and MBA placements, please visit our website www.psu2private.com. Link in the description below. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you do not miss out on latest videos on career counseling posted by me.